Cool. All right. Welcome everyone to How to Multisig. Today, what I want to do is spend some time showing you what is Squad's Multisig, how it works, how to set it up. It's aimed at beginners because a lot of people don't even know what a multisig is and how to use it, and let alone how powerful it can be. And in light of the current hack that happened, I guess you could call it a hack, but there's other words to describe it as well. A lot of people lost a lot of money, but things can also be even worse than they were. But to start, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Metasel from Melbourne, Australia. I've been on Solana for nearly 5 years now. I have my own website. You can check out all the projects that I've done over the years. But from a professional perspective, only on Solana, I've worked at Squads, the multisig. Then I worked at Exodus Wallet. And then I did a developer advocacy role for the Solana Foundation. And now I'm working with Super Team Australia. But I'm very passionate about Solana, and I think people need to learn how to do things better. And there's nothing more important than Squads itself. I would appreciate if you guys want to join in as well and ask questions as we go to clarify things, right? It's only 3 of us at the moment, but if other people join, that's good as well. But if you have anything you want to go into detail about, I'd love to be able to go deep into particular topics, right? So you can hear me clearly, you can see me clearly, and you can see my screen. Is that right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Cool. So the first thing we'll go through is what is a multisig? Can any of you guys tell me how would you define what a multisig is? No takers? No? Okay, so the best way to explain what a multi-sig is multiple signatures that are required to be executed to ensure a transaction or a message is executed, right? So the real world example for people that are new to this technology would be, imagine a business bank account where you cannot take any money out, but you can put money in, right? But you can't take any money out unless there is 2 signatures signed on a checkbook, right? I made a meme about it last week as well, but I think that's probably the best definition, which is you need multiple signatures on a check by different people that need a transaction to be invoked, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's...
Yeah. Cool.
That's
now, yeah, so that's what a multi-sig is. And that also is the name of the product by the company called Squads. So Squads has a product called Multisig, which allows you to do such things. But they also have a few other products that I'll just quickly skim over, right? So the second product of theirs is called Fuse. Have you guys used it or heard about it?
I've never used it, but yeah, I've seen it everywhere. Like, I mean, mostly on X, like few tweets about it.
Right. So Fuse is actually the iOS or the Apple phone app for multisig. And a lot of people don't realize it. It's actually built on the same technology, right? So imagine using your phone as a multisig, your Face ID as one of the signatories, and then your email address, and then maybe a hardware wallet, right? So Fuse Wallet is built by Squads on Squads, but for personal banking. So not multiple people, just one person with multiple wallets connected, right? The third product of theirs is actually the full-on enterprise level bank, which is Altitude, and it's banking for companies, right? So think Squad's treasury, but more aimed at banks connected to real banks around the world. For example, I've got an account linked to an American account, but you can also do European accounts as well. Okay. And then their fourth one is their API product, which allows you to, work with stable coins, payments, cards, yield, and, create your own product. For example, I think one of the founders of Squads put a challenge out there saying, why doesn't someone build a Android version of Fuse Wallet, right? Because Fuse is so popular, and believe it or not, it actually won the Expo React Native App of the Year last year, which I did a presentation on at a local meetup here. But it's a beautiful app, but someone should remake that on Android, right? And the Squads is not doing it right now, but someone could because they provide you all the APIs, right? So that's good. Oh, all right. So we've spoken about what is a multisig, and now we'll go ahead and actually get into the UI and create one, right? So I've got a wallet here on Phantom that I spun up just before this class. I'll log into it, and there's about $20, $30 on there, right? So to create a wallet, it's actually very, very cheap. And if you know how to use APIs, it's practically free, right? But what you do is you connect your wallet, right? And create a squad. Now I've already got one created, so I can see exactly how it works already, but you would actually go to this step first, right? Which is give it a name. So let's call it demo, and you can attach a logo, right? I won't do that. Give it a description. This is all off chain, right? And then you would obviously add yourself as a member and a few others. Now, if you guys are interested, I can add you as members if you want to play with it without needing to spend any money. Feel free to just put a message with your wallet in the chat, and I can add you as a member, and you can practice using this, but totally up to you. For my demo, I've got Tolly as the first person in the wallet or in the multisig. I'm going to add Raj as the second person. And then I'm going to add a third person, which is Greg. So obviously the theme there is the three founders of Solana. A very crucial setting that comes up in the beginning is what's the threshold? And the threshold means how many people should be signing, right? Now, when you first set up, this is not important because there's no money there, right? There's nothing really to manage. But eventually you can change it to 2 and 3. I'll do that right now because I'm the single person controlling all 3. So there's no risk of me losing anything right now or anyone getting hacked. My advice always to people is give 2 wallets per person. So in reality, what should happen is Raj should have 2 wallets, Tolly should have 2 wallets, Greg should have 2 wallets, which equals 6, and then have a threshold that's more than 50%. So you would say 3 wallets probably isn't enough, probably 4 wallets should be. So both of Tolly's and both of Raj's need to be signing, but the best practice would be 7 wallets. So ideally more people to sign, right? But here I'm just going to do 3. We've got the name, demo, 3 members, 3 threshold, and a deployment fee of about 0.1 Solana, which equates to probably $8 right now, right? So not bad to permissionlessly create a treasury on Solana for under $10, right? I confirm that. Now, a little bonus that I'll throw in while this is spinning in the background. There we go. The wallet is created. We copy the share link, and you'll see that you have your own treasury on Solana with a couple of cents with a threshold of 3, right? Can you guys remember how much it costs to set that up? Can you remind me? How much did I pay?
Not much.
No. All right. So a secret between the three of us, I've built my own website called sol.new, which also lets you create a multisig for just a couple of bucks. Because remember, the API is a lot cheaper than it is in the user interface. So on my website, you can do the same, but there's one extra security benefit, which you may not want to do in the long run, but it's okay for now, which is the only way to connect to my app, sol.new, is by using passkeys, right? Have you guys heard of passkeys?
Yeah.
Yeah, so passkeys is biometrics, which allows you to use your fingerprint or your Face ID to sign in, and it gives you a wallet which you can fund, and then from there create a wallet, and you can get it for a lot cheaper than doing it from the user interface. But just wanted to show that off, and that's how I created the first demo in here, Squad, right? If you have a look here, my first wallet has 2 members. My second squad has 3 members. Any questions?
So
Yeah.
I didn't know, like, so they're actually taking a fee on the UI.
With me?
So are they taking like an actual fee in Solana when we use Squad?
Yeah, that's right. So Squads has fees associated with it. So there's I think 0.05 Sol for creating, and then there's extra fees on top as well. I think this might be out of date, but yeah, there's a deployment fee of 0.01.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's interesting. Okay.
Yep. And then, but if you use the API, it's practically free. But, you know, just gas fees. And what else? There's other fees associated as well, but you can bypass them or avoid them if you stake with their validator, which you'll see in here as well.
Yeah.
If you stake, I think it's 100 squads Sol.
Yeah.
Somewhere, then you can avoid those fees as well. Cool. All right, so now let's go through the user interface of Squads now that it's set up. I'll just double check no one's waiting. Oh yeah, there's people waiting. Cool. Hi guys. Yeah, I wish this should have just let people in straight away. These people left waiting. Never mind. Maybe they'll come back. Yeah, sorry, did you have a question?
No.
No, right? And Nissan's here. Hey, Nissan. Cool. All right, so yeah, the pricing is there. Let's keep going. Yeah, no worries, Nissan. All good. Thanks for joining. Sorry, I didn't see you in the waiting area. Okay, cool. So let's get back. All right, so here we are. So this is the treasury or the squads created, and we've got a threshold of 3 by 3. On the dashboard, you can send or get the QR code to deposit or even do a bit of trading. But one of the things that you have to keep in mind when you're trading is that, remember, there's multiple signatures required. So you're not going to get the correct pricing all the time if the other person hasn't signed the trade to be executed, right? So one of the issues, but it's a feature, you know, not a bug, is that normally people would send the funds to another wallet to do the trade and then bring it back in, right? So you'll see here that there's limit orders you can set. You can do a swap, but you know, it's not always going to go ahead straight away. And you can also do a DCA in or out as well. Right? There's a transactions section which talks to you about what your configuration or your vault settings may have updated in the recent time. From here, you can put offline or off-chain edits to your members. So here's the 3 members. So notice in my wallet, I have Tolly, Raj, and Greg. Now that's in Phantom, you know, just on my cookies here. But over here, we need to possibly update this as well and say, all right, so this was Tolly, HS, right? And this one here is Raj, right? And you can also remove people, their permissions, or can them all together, right? Like hitting the bin button. Here we have Greg, so the 3 founders are there. All right, remember this, notice there's no signing happening because this is all just local to my machine, right? Squads does also support SNS domains. So if any of these wallets had Tolly.sol associated, that would automatically populate here as well. Under Treasury, again, similar buttons, send, deposit, and trade. You can look at what your stakes are, what your NFTs are. And you can also create extra bank accounts. So just like a normal bank, you would have like a marketing bank account, a business bank account, a payroll bank account. Squads gives you the first bank account for free, right? Or for the first deployment fee. But then after that, you can also get extra accounts known as sub accounts. For that, you need to spend $49 a month to do so, right? And that gives you some extra features as well. So here is the trade again. Here is the staking. As I mentioned earlier, before Nissan joined, you can use staking on here, and it also gives you a discount on your fees. So if you stake, I think it's 100 or more Solana with the Squad's validator, your fees are waived up to a certain amount per month. Okay. So here we are. So they give you 5.9 APY on Squads, and they charge a 4% commission. So it's not bad. Okay. Now here's the fun stuff. So a lot of programs on Solana are deployed using either a command line or a user interface that someone may have developed. But a lot of people don't realize is that the program that you deploy on chain, and similar to the issue that happened with Drift, was or could be controlled via a multisig, right? So the program on Solana can be deployed by anyone, but you can provide control to a multisig, right? Now, I don't know if if you guys are interested in the technical part of it, but we can go into it considering there's only a couple of people here. But yeah, you add a name of a program, you get the token address, and hopefully this is the one that you've deployed yourself. Oh yeah. What is it that I would like? Get a different one. Are you guys interested in the program side of things?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
that's interesting. Cool. All right, so this program is the referral program that I just randomly found, and it's asking me to sign that we're going to add this program to our treasury. It should fail because we don't own it, right? But what it does is it creates the transaction for us, updates the program update authority to that of the multisig, teaches us how to do it. So you would run this in the command line, right? And then verify, right? So if we really wanted to do it, we could go and get this program from the chain, deploy it ourselves, and then update it to make sure that the update authority now belonged to the multisig. Right? Another thing you can do is validators. So validators can also be assigned to this treasury. So not just one person has too much control over it. Similar thing, what's the name, what's the vote account, and transfer that across into squads. Something that I really hope a lot of people do in the future, because during meme season this wasn't happening, but adding tokens and managing tokens via squads or multisig would be a very big deal. You know, so tokens that have been rugging on chain, a lot of the things could be prevented if people were actually deploying their token via a treasury or a multisig that was managed by a group of people, right? So let's see if there's a screenshot available. I did a video about it about a year ago. See if it's still here. But this actually, yeah, here it is. This lets you manage tokens, mint more, burn, or update its metadata, right? All from within squads. And also it supports both standards, the standards program, and also the token 22 known as token extensions. And like I've said before, you can create the token in here, right? Instead of pump fund, where anyone is running from here, a treasury, which is reputable, which could have $1 million sitting in there, would be a lot more trustworthy, right? And then you can mint from here as well, update its metadata, and then transfer the authority if you didn't create it from in here, freeze the account, right? So you can imagine big stable coins would be using this, right, to manage their stable minting and metadata, right? Hey Mo, can see you come in. Welcome. All right. Cool. Any questions? We're halfway through, but yeah, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat or ask here. Oh, I missed that. What did you want to learn about? The programs, I think it was. I think while he's replying to that, so do you guys remember what happened to Drift and what caused that issue? No? All right, so that's the next thing I'm going to cover. So what would have happened, part of it, yeah, cool, wasn't it social engineering? Yeah, so what happened with Drift and the social engineering side is that, you know, on Solana, there's something called nonce. So I built this tool as well. And what a nonce does is, like we talked about earlier, you know, a multi-sig is like having a checkbook and multiple people sign the check for something to go through, right? Actually, let's do that. Let's do a transaction, right? And if the guys that are chatting, that are not talking, if you want to drop your wallet in here, I can add you so you can join my multi-sig. This is just a test run with just about $20 in it, where I'm happy for you to join, and I'll drop you a couple of dollars for you to play around with this squad, right? But yeah, like I was saying, if we want to send money to someone, right? I mean, in here it's just 8 cents, but actually, let's do what Nissan has done, right? So he wants to become a member. So let's say the board approves. We go to add him as a member. And this is his public key. We're going to say that he's not an executive. So we can remove him as, if we had a paid version, we would remove him as an executor. And the screen's loading a bit. Here we go. Right, we could remove him as an executor, but we can allow him to be a voter or a proposer, right? We're going to not change the threshold. We'll just leave it at 3. So now one of my wallets don't need to sign anymore. And we just add Nissan and we initiate it. So we go through the board. We sign off on it saying, yep, we approve. We're adding Nissan as a member. Now, when you use this the first time, you'll be like, oh yeah, cool, Nissan's a member. But that's not how treasuries work, right? Nissan has been proposed to be a member, right? So I repeat, Nissan has been proposed to be a member. He is not a member as yet, right? So if you see under transactions and config, it says that we want to add a member with that wallet that he dropped in, and it's active. Now, one person has approved it. Well, that's obviously me, the proposer, right? So if I switch my wallets to Raj and connect, and Raj agrees, you'll see there's an option here to approve, right? Right. So notice it's still, oh, actually, if he doesn't have any money, let me just quickly send some money to Raj's wallet. I forgot to do that. Send Sol to. You can see my wallet, right? Yeah.
Yep. Right. So Raj has got some money. And we'll also send some to Greg, the third founder. All right. Now Greg will have some money. Beautiful. All right. So let's go back to Raj and approve now that he has $2.50. All right. So now 2 people have approved it, and he should still not be a member. Right. And now if we go back to transactions, another quirky thing that is good to know about squads is that you should always do transactions in the order that you want them to execute, and don't add any more transactions, even though it might feel like you should, because they will get overwritten. So for example, if we wanted to add a couple of members, you should probably add them successfully and then create a new transaction for the next member. Yeah. All right, now we're going to do Greg is going to approve it. And see, remember, Greg is an executor, so he is allowed to execute it. And from that moment, welcome Nissan to the squad, right? Then we'll be able to tell everyone he's a member of the squad. I'll go ahead and update his name on my client side. And if there he is, beautiful. And if you want, you can go and propose something, Nissan. So you could propose, either emptying the bank, adding a program, right? Or managing a token, anything you like, right? But I'll just go back on topic as we were talking about drift before. So what would have happened with drift is that they would have had a program in here, and that program's authority was set to a wallet, and where and who could execute that program to do a particular thing. So what the malicious actors did was they created what's known as blank checks, right, or durable nonce. So in here, remember, you sign transactions. So what you can do on Solana, this is not a squads thing, this is a Solana thing, is that you can actually write checks that you don't know what they're doing and you don't know when they're going to sign, but they are pre-signed, right, known as durable nonce. So if you create them using my tool, you could create them now, and then you can use them in the future. And that's what the hackers were able to do. So I'm going to create one now. Create a nonce. Right. Now, I would not recommend using this in the real world, right, for real stuff. It's just a proof of concept, and you can link back to my repos that are available as the code if you're a developer. There you go. So a nonce was created, and this is how simple it was. A check or numerous checks were signed with these nuances or nonces, sorry, and then they used them to update things on the Drift multisig, right? So Phantom warned you that this could steal your funds because you don't actually know what it's doing, right? But this is exactly what would have happened with the nonces. They were created and then used by malicious actors, right? So I've made this tool to check what people have, you know. So if you're unsure of your own wallet, because if you've ever, oh, that's not good. I don't know what that's happening. And it is above. Oh, maybe I shouldn't be. Oh, that's the wallet. That's right. Yeah, there you go. So there's one nonce which could be dangerous, right? So feel free to use this tool because I'm not logging anything. You can go here, put in a wallet or a multi-sig somewhere that you've invested money and see, oh, are there any nonce accounts that are created that someone could use because they have it? And if you do have it, if I was you, I would dump that wallet as soon as possible, get all your money off it and move it somewhere before that nonce gets used by someone, right? That gets access to a front end or something else on your system, right? Cool. All right. So that's the nonce checker. That's what would have happened with Drift. Nissan, did you add or do anything to the treasury? You're a member. Another cool feature, yeah, you can approve and reject in batches if there's a few transactions there. Okay, cool. No worries, man. Yeah, cool. All right. So that's that. And another aspect that I keep getting distracted from is, yeah, so the people that did the hack on Drift, what they did or would have done is create the transactions. And if they were going to use the UI, which you shouldn't because it's, you know, you're probably too advanced for it. But yeah, you can bring in your transactions in here and execute them in here, right? Using a user interface instead of a script. Cool. Here you manage this subscription that you've got, and over here you manage, you know, what your multi-sig vault is, your threshold is, and then you can also set up some spending limits. And this is probably the best thing you can do. You know, if you've got employees in the organization that you trust, but you don't want them to have full control about everything, right? Like, for example, back in the day, I used to have an office and the receptionist needed $50 a week to go buy coffee and milk for the staff room, right? So I didn't want her to come to me every week before credit cards and everything were so easy to access, right? So we used to have what's known as a petty cache. So think of it like that, where you could set a limit saying, all right, Toli's allowed to spend $100 a day, or Raj is allowed to spend $1,000 a day, right? This is what allows you to take money out in small amounts
on a regular schedule, right? If that makes sense. Another feature in here is privacy. So if I give you this link, you guys will actually be able to go look at my squad, right? On chain and via a user interface. But what you can actually do is enable privacy mode, which means that you can't access it anymore in the user interface. But remember, there was no signatures or anything on chain done. This is just a user interface thing. So don't think that this protects you from on chain. It just protects you from a user interface from a very novice user perspective, right? They can't go and look at everything that you're doing. Right. So it's not the best thing, but it's a little bit of support that you could get, right? This is another thing that could have saved Drift, but the hackers, I think, disabled it. Time locking on their multisig, which means that you can actually say, do not execute anything until this amount of time has passed, right? So if you are worried about something, instead of canceling your credit card, what you can do is freeze your credit card over a certain period after a transaction has been executed, right? But this could have saved some money as well. And for example, Wormhole actually did this. They have a Guardian program, which said that anyone that tries to remove more than $50,000 for the first time ever, they lock it for 30 days, right? I changed the setting to time lock. Didn't go through. Oh, do you have any funds in your wallet? So you should have had a pop-up like this come up to sign the wallet. If you don't have funds in there, the simulation would have failed. Right? So then this one's just asking about the time lock. Right? Then this would have failed. But yeah, there has to be a signature that goes through on chain for it to happen. But yeah, as I was saying, yeah, Wormhole Guardian, they actually blocked $5 million from being stolen because they noticed that a wallet that had never been used before tried to take out $5.9 million, but it was over the $50 threshold, so it got locked for 30 days. So until the Guardians do something, I think it's a great idea, and it seemed to have saved a couple of $1 million for some of the people involved. All right. Another thing is everything you do on squads, obviously, just like every other thing on Solana, requires accounts, and accounts cost money and rent. So there's a feature where if you've been doing a lot of voting and executing things, there'll be a lot of accounts that are left open. So every month or every couple of days, you should come and automatically enable this to get some money back by closing accounts, which is currently, I think, like 20, or probably 15 cents now. 17 cents, right? So for every time you execute a transaction, you're spending 17 cents that you can get back, right? A fee relayer is meaning that the issue that I had with Raj's account not having any funds and Nissan not having money in his account, what you can do is you can sponsor from your treasury to pay for everyone's fees. If they're part of the organization, you shouldn't have an issue paying for their fees, right? So fee relayer allows you to pay for everyone's fees that executes transactions in your squad. Okay. And then the final one is the coin list filter. So this allows you to hide or show coins that are new and not really approved by Jupiter or a few of the other lists. I'll drop some of these in the chat if anyone wants to use them. Nonce is mine. Free rent is mine. And Sol.new is mine, which I showed earlier on as well. That multisig. Cool. Yeah, so if you have any questions, now's a good time to ask. To repeat again, I always recommend 4 out of 7 as the perfect balance of multi-sig signers, and each human in the loop should have 2 wallets per person, 1 primary one, 1 backup one, and hence why 4 out of 7 is a lot better than 3 out of 5, 1 per person. All this is pointless if people have really bad operational security, if they're using what I'm doing now, which is your normal laptop with the multi-sig, with all the wallets on the same machine. That would be absolutely pointless, because if you lose your laptop or you don't back up those seed phrases, your whole treasury is gone, right? You should always use a hardware wallet as one of the points of failure. And Tolly and Squads also recommend always use multiple brands. So don't buy Trezor only, don't buy Ledger only, right? Don't have a Seeker only. If anything, if you're dealing with millions of dollars, it's not a big deal to spend a couple of $100 to buy a Trezor, right? Hardware wallet, I've got one of these, or a Ledger, right? I've got this one, yep. And the third one was, the Seeker Mobile. You can actually use that as a hardware wallet as well, because it's got a seed phrase and enclave, right? And that's only $500, I think, at the moment, or might be even cheaper. Yeah, $500. Cool. Never carry it with you. A wrench attack is very, very prominent in some countries. And what that means is people come to you and attack you with a wrench because of the fact that they know you've got a wallet that was associated with a multi-sig. Yeah, the Seeker phone was pretty much free for people that were early in buying it and collecting airdrops. There's something that a lot of people I haven't heard talk about on Solana, but in my previous life, we used to do at least every 3 months, if not annually, a dry run. So what that would mean is you would execute a transaction that involved everyone using every one of their signatures or wallets to prove that they still had it. And if they couldn't prove it, then that means that they've either lost it, which is also dangerous, or it could have been leaked as well, right? Because they don't have access to it anymore. So to remove them is best practice as well, and execute something on it every couple of weeks, if not a month, and maybe even change squads every couple of months to ensure that if there is any bad actors floating around, you remove them by creating new squads and adding new people on them. Right? Recently, a friend of mine got hacked, and a business friend of mine got hacked. And the first thing you do is give them a phone call and do a voice check. And after the voice check, obviously make sure that it's AI can do that with audio and video. Like, who am I really the person talking to you right now? Is a proof of history check. And if you don't know what that is you should have met this person more than once in your past, and you talk about something that could have happened or occurred in that. So for example, this person that got hacked, we met at a conference. He reached out saying, I've got a new Telegram. I said, cool. So do you remember what we spoke about at that event at that time, right? And that was a proof of history. That should not be known to anyone, right? But he was able to prove that because I called
his US phone number from my Aussie phone number, right? So we're talking about serious things here, so got to take things seriously. It might sound funny or over the top, but it is really important. So yeah, we've done the multi-sig, added members, set thresholds, added treasury or funded it, and then same thing happens in reverse. If we wanted to remove Raj because we no longer like him, we can just go to Raj, piss off, initiate, and sign. Oh, Raj is trying to remove Raj. Let me change that. Charlie's going to remove Raj. And he's got $7. That's good. You have a question, Peter?
I was just wondering if you know why it takes so long.
Oh, sometimes if the gas is low to get a simulation happening fails, or because I already had a simulation in the process, the transaction between the extension and the UI sometimes fails. I'll just do it again. I just reset. So yeah, there you go. So that window is probably popped up in the background.
Mm.
Yeah, there you go. Cool. All right, so yeah, there's the time lock, and yeah, Nissan added, and then this transaction should come up in a second after it's confirmed. Good question. Yes, I think it was a phantom pop-up issue. Yeah, no worries, Nissan. Thanks for coming. Yeah, any other questions? Because we're nearly out of time. I've covered a lot. Hopefully you've learned something and find it informative or educational. There's Raj. So we need 3 people to get rid of Raj. So Raj can himself say, yes, I agree, I want to be removed. We'll say Greg also agrees that we're going to get rid of Raj. And this is where you're going to get a deadlock. Because see, Nissan has logged off. So if I sign this, the threshold will be 3 of 3, right? So there'll be 3 people, and the threshold will still be 3. So this is where you got to be careful with some of the setups that you have, right? So before changing Raj or removing Raj, we may consider changing the threshold, right?
Will then the program like prevent this?
Sorry, David. Sorry.
Will then the program like maybe the program like prevents bricking the multisig?
Oh no, it's not a brick, because it's just that Nissan is not in the call with us right now.
Ah, yeah. I mean, yeah, okay. But if you had like 3 out of 3 and you wanted to remove someone,
yes, yeah.
Is
so
that threshold going to drop to 2 automatically, or you have to do it before?
No, you have to do it as part of the transaction.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to do it as part of the transaction. So if I go back here, and members, yeah, it's not going to get bricked per se. It's just bricked because Nissan's not here. Right? Yeah. So over here, yeah, see here, I should have done, if I knew Nissan was leaving, I would have done remove Raj and also change the threshold to 2 out of 3. Right?
Yeah.
That would have been better. But now that transaction is actually wasted, because if I execute it I'm bricked just because Nissan's not here. And if I don't execute, then I'm also bricked. So I'll reject it. Cool. And then we can create a new one. Cool. Now, to wrap up, just to make sure that we're not just talking about squads as the only option in the world, right? There's another app called realms.today. This is a governance product that is also on Solana, and it allows you to manage your treasury, govern financial governance, and basically have bank accounts. And this also is linked to, I think, Marshall Islands DAO. So you can actually create a company all on chain on Solana using their app. So if you go to v2.realms.today, you'll be able to do similar things, which is create a DAO and a multisig, right? And that multisig will allow you to do very similar things like squads, but in some ways different things, because over here what you're doing is voting, not just about money and programs and validators and members. You're actually voting on things. I don't have one set up because it's outside the scope of today's session, but the kind of things you could do is say, hey, should we vote to do an event? Or should we do a vote to mint more? Well, no, you can do that on squads. Or should we spend some money to buy something or hire something or pay someone, right? For example, as part of my project, Solana, Australia, New Zealand, I put in a proposal to ask for $10,000, or sorry, some funding from Metaplex, right? So all the people that had or held the Metaplex token logged on to Realms and voted to say, yes, I approve, or reject Metasal or Sal getting $10,000 worth of Metaplex tokens, right? So that's one way to govern your community. But yeah, that didn't go through. But yeah, that's how you would do it. And you can manage NFTs and a few other things as well. Cool. Cool. All right. Well, I'll leave it there unless there's any more questions from anyone. No? All right. Well, thank you very much for everyone for joining. I love doing these because it refreshes my memory and helps me learn more as well as I do it. So thank you for the questions. Thank you for joining. And hopefully we'll see you on Twitter or somewhere around Australia. See you guys.
See you. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.